Hello vinyl community. I wanted to do something different today for this Tales of the Deadwax and change my setting up a little bit. Can't do this all the time, but to show you some of the records from my featured company today, and that is Quality Record Pressing, which I kind of mentioned last week that I would do. So Quality Record Pressing, they are a relatively new pressing plant. I'm going to talk about the history, but for those interested in the Deadwax, I want to talk about that first. So how do you know if you have a quality record pressing or QRP pressing? You cannot always tell. So if it wasn't for this baggie and this sticker, you're not always going to be able to tell if it came from QRP. Now, there are some albums, for example, that do have QRP clearly indicated in the Deadwax. So, like this Hendrix album here. There are a few other indicators. So, like if it's one of their own pressings, sometimes you will see an AP in the designator, but they've done a lot of pressings for other people, and the QRP or their own indicator is not always there. So if you were just happening to thumb around in the used bins, you may not know. They do have a relationship with Reference Recordings, so this is a fantastic album, and I got to thank Ian at HiViNyws for featuring this one. This was recorded at Skywalker Sound. It's a double album set. Recorded at Skywalker Sound, and just fantastic. But another indicator for quality is the bag. Now, some of their clients, they don't always include this bag based on the client request, but a lot of them have. And so you have quality record press up here on this. It's basically a MoFi bag, but just with a different branding on it. Since I'm on the topic, another way you can tell is the flat rim. So if you have a bag like this and you feel along the side, or if you have another bag and it has a flat rim, it could be a QRP pressing. They have pressed for other companies. So this is the audio fidelity of issue of Blade Runner by Vangelis, which is just fantastic. And they have a little video here, and this is the only way I would have known it was pressed at QRP. So just to show you the video really quickly. Another record to show you is this one, which is Paternoster, which is a fantastic psych album, really obscure, which is coming from Now and Again Reserve, which is a record club run by Egon. And I got to thank the Vinyl Greek for this, and QRP pressed this one as well. So that's it for some of the records I want to show you. Now I want to talk about the history a little bit. So this photo is of QRP's CEO, or the brainchild of QRP, and that is Chad Kasem. So how did Chad Kasem get his start? Well, in 1986, he founded a company called Acoustic Sounds, and Acoustic Sounds was basically a mail order service. So he was purchasing MoFi and other audiophile records and then selling them via mail order. And this was going great for him for a while, and then it became a full-fledged business. It was something that he just was not running out of his house. And in 1991, he wanted to get in the audiophile pressing game. And who better to get in that game with than RTI? So he met with Don McInnes here, and you can see in this photo. And in 1991, that kicked off Analog Productions, and Analog Productions wanted all of its stuff pressed at RTI. So I showed this last week. This is an example of one of the things that Chad was having pressed at RTI. So they were doing contemporary Verve. They did a lot of prestige titles on 45 RPM. They did some classical stuff. All of this was being pressed at RTI. And the relationship with Don McInnes flourished, and so they decided to come up with their own mastering company, and hence they came up with Acoustic in 1995. Acoustic gets its name from Acoustic Sounds and also the technology part of Record Technology Incorporated. And you can see here in this very early video that Acoustic Sounds was featuring RTI on its early internet website.
AcousticSounds.com, your one-stop source for all audiophile needs.
That's right.
And you guys are on the home page.
Yeah, that we've worked with them to link a mini website for us onto their homepage. We can use this site to look at not only this particular company, Acoustic Sounds, but a lot of our customers' product is marketed through this service.
They took the two best, or one of the two best, there's a lot of good ones out there, but one of the two best mastering guys on the planet, and that would be Steve Hoffman and Kevin Gray. And so from 1995 up until they disbanded in 2010, for reasons which I'll get into, Acoustic was being run by those two guys. Now, if you haven't seen it, Michael Firmer has a wonderful video where he visits these guys as they're mastering, and I recommend checking it out. So, the vinyl interest started to pick up in the late 90s, early 2000s. Music Direct had purchased Mobile Fidelity Sound Labs, and they wanted their records pressed at RTI. So you have all of these different companies that now wanted their stuff pressed at RTI. So you had MoFi, you had Rhino, you had Sony, Friday Music, Classic Records, just to name a few. There were a bunch of others, and plus other people that just wanted their records pressed at RTI because of the quality. So how did that impact the relationship? So Chad Kasem started to become frustrated because he was doing subscription services for Blue Note and Contemporary Prestige, and the production process started to slow down, and he got very frustrated by it. So he saw it as an opportunity. And I don't know who initiated it because I can't find any information out there on it, but either Michael Hobson was looking to sell Classic Records or Chad just pursued him and asked to buy it. So in 2010, Chad, because he wanted his own pressing plant, purchased the presses from Classic Records from Michael Hobson, and took the presses, took all the back catalog, and hence moved all those to Salina, Kansas, and that was the birth of Quality Record Pressing. So in 2010, you had everything, you had a stop in production at RTI, you had Acoustic that was disbanded, and Chad basically wanted to start a plant from scratch. So one of the unsung heroes of this entire story is a guy by the name of Gary Hallstrm. And I do not think QRP would be what they are today if it wasn't for Gary's services. So Gary started out as a plating guy, but he's more than that now. And Gary worked for RTI, as you can see here. And Gary also worked for Classic Records. So Michael Hobson, the owner of Classic Records, got him involved with more than just the plating alone. Michael got him involved with the actual presses themselves. And so the innovations like the flat rim, which they reintroduced, Gary had his hand in that. And I think Chad Kasem recognized how good Gary is and gave him an offer he just couldn't refuse. So there's a wonderful video, which, you know, here's a small shot, but I'll include a link down below. I recommend checking it out. Gary talks about, you know, starting QRP from scratch. And so, again, I do not think QRP would be where they're at today if it wasn't for Gary. So a couple more things that we can look at or look into the future for. Chad acquired 11 new record presses that had been warehoused in Chicago for a couple decades. I want to say, or I think they were involved with the famous Trax House label out of Chicago. If anyone knows, please shoot me a note down below. I'd be curious. But yeah, these machines are going to be refurbished. Again, they have the whole story on their website, and definitely worth checking out. And you know, they are going to be the second biggest pressing plant in the United States, still behind United. United had just, as of this past week, acquired a couple new presses from Bill Smith's Custom Records. So yeah, they are really acquiring the presses, but quality record pressing is definitely going to be up there in terms of quality and production. So definitely not United for sure. The other thing is the great mastering engineer Doug Sachs passed away several months back, and Chad bought his lathe and acquired the mastering lab and all their equipment. So Chad is getting back in the mastering game. So he's not going to be able to master all the stuff that's on the West Coast and the East Coast. Michael Fremer told me that, Michael Fremer reminded me that sometimes the tapes, they won't let them leave the home city. So, of course, he'll be using folks like Bernie Grunman and Ryan Smith on either coast. But I'll be curious to see what tapes do get mastered in Salina, Kansas, and put on a QRP album. So there you have it, folks. If you have any corrections, if you have any comments, if you have any thoughts about QRP, if I got anything wrong, shoot me a video, shoot me a link down below, let me know what you think. And as always, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching this Tales of the Deadwax. If you liked what you saw and you're curious to hear about other plants and other Deadwax stories, please check out some of these videos here. And please shoot me a comment, or subscribe, or don't. But thank you for watching.